Some mornings I wake before the sun even dares to rise and allow myself to simply exist in that fragile moment between dreaming and the demands of the day. The house is still, a refrigerator hum here, a faint tapping of branches against the bedroom window there. It's in those moments, before my mind picks up its lists and worries, that I can feel exactly where my body is at, the ease or the ache, or that quiet hum of readiness. Not so long ago, when I had just stepped into my 60s, those mornings often told a different story. My first sensations were heaviness, a dull fatigue that clung like fog. I would wonder, is this what getting older means? That my energy would now hide from me most days, showing up only when it felt generous. I convinced myself for a while that this was simply the way life unfolded. That acceptance meant shrinking my circle of effort, allowing more and more things to become too much. But one cool coastal morning, sitting on my San Diego patio barefoot, hands wrapped around a steaming mug of chamomile tea, I caught myself watching the neighbor's dog launch into a gleeful, hopeless chase after a squirrel. Jasmine bloomed like soft stars along the fence. And in that ordinary moment, a truth bloomed in me. My spark hadn't gone anywhere. It was waiting for me to tend it. It wasn't about superfoods or marathon medals. The fuel I'd been missing was invisible, constant, and as close as the tip of my nose, my breath. Before I tell you exactly how I changed it, picture this as a conversation. Drop your first name and your city in the comments. I imagine us scattered across maps, Spokane, Birmingham, Santa Fe, linked by something as small and powerful as one mindful breath. The shift began at a routine doctor's visit. My oxygen saturation was lower than I expected. Not alarmingly so, but enough to lodge in my mind. That night, I listened to myself, strinty truth. Whoosh. My shoulders rose. My chest moved a little, my belly barely at all. I gasped quietly in my own living room, half breaths, half energy, half life. So I began an experiment, 1 single minute each day of deliberate, nourishing breath. The 1-minute anchor breath, sit tall, feet grounded, one hand on the belly, one on the ribs. Inhale through the nose for 4 count belly first, ribs second, chest last. Exhale through pursed lips for Luke counts, as if fogging a winter window. Repeat back to Sher cycles. The first time I felt awareness spread through me like warm light in water. Instead of rushing into my phone, my mind lingered here, in my own skin. Within days, I began using it everywhere, in the car before entering the store, leaning against the kitchen counter while the kettle boiled, sitting on the edge of my bed before answering an early call. And it seeped into my choices. When served went. When the plumber was 2 minutes late, I breathed instead of stewing. We fixed the leak quickly, no sharp edges between us. Mid-afternoon at my desk, when my eyelids felt weighted, I reset with slow breaths instead of raiding the cupboard. 30 minutes later, I was still riding the clarity. Waiting in line at the market, I let my breath settle my shoulders. By the time it was my turn, the slow-moving cashier no longer felt like an obstacle. I added 2 more tools Mindran, the 4-T-Ba sleep switch. Inhale for 4, hold for Qi, exhale for Ba, works like drawing a curtain over my thoughts. Walk and breathe sync. Inhale for 3 steps, exhale for Zika. My mind stops wandering before my feet do. Mistakes I left behind, gulping air to the point of dizziness, letting my jaw stay clenched, breathing through my mouth out of habit. My non-negotiable 3, 1 mindful minute before my phone in the morning, 1 between demanding tasks, 1 before bed. Just 3 minutes, but they alter the other C/30 in the day. Why? Because shallow breath tells the body, unsafe. Muscles tense, heart speeds, slow breath says, safe. Tenhos, high apex pressures as full, steady, slow breath. Breath says, safe. And when the body believes it, it releases its grip. Energy, clarity, patience, they return like birds to a quiet feeder. Weeks turned into months, Thread. The fog that once owned my mornings now clears before I've finished my tea. The RPM crash has become a gentle curve I can ride with steady focus. And the way I meet the world, kinder, slower to snap, feels like a gift I'm giving myself, again and again. Breath hasn't erased my problems, but it has rebuilt the woman who greets them. Once I began weaving those 1-minute breathing resets into my daily life, something subtle but steady began to change. It wasn't a dramatic Hollywood moment. It was more like a tide creeping in quietly, reshaping the shoreline without fanfare. My legs started to send little signals in the afternoon, my shoulders wanted to stretch back, and I found myself thinking maybe I should move a little. Not exercise in the punishing Ethan Jobite Bashers' aerobics tape kind of way. No. This was about reminding my body it was still agile, still able, still mine to use. Back when I had just stepped into my 60s, moving felt like an obligation. I treated walks as chores, stretching as something you did when the doctor handed you a printout. Now, in my late 60s by the California coast, I see movement differently. It's not performance, it's preserving my freedom. Freedom to climb the 3 porch steps to the mailbox without noticing, to squat and pull a casserole dish from the low cabinet without wincing, to carry my own groceries without scanning for a kind stranger. I love moving in the golden slant of late afternoon. Here in San Diego, that's when the air smells faintly of salt and dried eucalyptus leaves, and the light turns the neighborhood into something out of a painting. I'll head out for a walk, not to break a sweat, but to be part of the picture. I see the shadows lengthen, hear laughter spilling over a fence, past a jasmine hedge gone wild with bloom. 10 minutes in, I feel my breathing settle into an easy rhythm, like my body had quietly been waiting for me to notice it. Before I lay out my plan for you, say hi in the comments. Where's home for you? Madison, Wisconsin? Mesa, Arizona? Raleigh, North Carolina? I picture us like a quilt. Different textures, same thread. My Sherwood minute freedom flow, illusion up 7 minutes, ankle rolls, forward backward, sure each way per foot. Wrist circles, both directions, until they feel like hinges freshly oiled, neck arcs, chin toward chest, then ear towards shoulder. 6 per side, slow enough to notice resistance melting. While I do this, I imagine I'm creaking open a long closed window, small movement, big difference in airflow. Wake the spine and hips, C minutes, gentle cat's cow at the kitchen counter, bat times. Inhale to lift chest, exhale to round, standing twists, each side, letting the gaze follow the shoulder. Leg swings front to back, shoe per leg while one hand rests on a sturdy chair. It's not glamorous, but it's mine, and it works. San, strength sprinkles, loc minutes, sure chair squats, just enough to say hello to my quads, not enough to make them sore tomorrow. So will push-ups, shoulders down and back, core gently braced, balancing on 1 foot for 30 seconds, switch, repeat. If I'm feeling good, I'll cycle it twice, if not, once still counts. Habati sida, seal it a haba minutes. The same 5 slow anchor breaths from part by yi. They act as a polite way of telling my body, work day's done. Wait. Time to store the energy, not spend it. My wins in starting, no more gripping the banister halfway up the stairs. Flipping the mattress doesn't require a recovery period. I can wander the farmer's market from end to end without eyeing the benches. Walking plan that sticks, Ursers 30 minutes most days, just shy of breathing hard. A 30-minute brisk push in the middle, once a week, either more minutes or 1 small hill. I pair walking with stealth balance moves scattered through the day, redundant heel to toe, walk along the hallway line. Brush teeth while marching in place, pour the kettle and lift 1 foot for sensor seconds. Fuel, not fads. When I was younger, I believed every headline about miracle diets. Sexually cessation. Now I aim for steady power, no sugar spikes, no post-lunch fog. Breakfasts: Greek yogurt, berries, sand flax, veggie omelette, whole grain toast, oatmeal, cinnamon, walnuts, and a dab of peanut butter. Lunches: stringed greens, sate tomatoed, avocado, chickpeas, tor salmon, dressed with olive oil and lemon, leftover roasted vegetables over quinoa with tahini drizzle. Dinners: roasted chicken or baked salmon, a heap of seasonal vegetables, either sweet potato or farro. Snacks don't pretend to be meals, a handful of almonds, apple slices with cinnamon, carrots and hummus or 1 mindful square of dark chocolate. Hydration rules: big bottle on the counter, empty by noon, glass of water with every meal. Second coffee swapped for herbal tea, calmer nerves, better sleep, emotions are physical too. Years ago, I ignored my moods. Now I know they live in the body just like stiffness or fatigue. Release and reset, Berent name it. I'm anxious, I'm sad, I'm stretched thin. Breathe, 4 rounds of shiqiba. Step outside for 5 minutes, even if all I do is tilt my face toward the sun. Connect, text, or call a friend. Thinking of you is enough to start. These 4 pillars, breathe, movement, food, emotional honesty, are not seasonal projects. They are my scaffolding. Even when the day feels heavy, I keep them in place because that's how I keep me. These days, some of my most valued moments are the ones I used to race past, the small pauses, the in-between, like stepping onto my porch at dawn before the neighborhood wakes, sweater wrapped around me, mug of steaming tea in hand. There's a bite of chill in the air, laced with the faint tang of the Pacific. The sky hasn't yet chosen its colors, just soft washes of gray and pearl. Somewhere close, a sparrow rehearses its song, stopping and starting, as if feeling out the day just like I am. Back when I just stepped into my 60s, I rarely allowed myself this kind of moment. I thought value came from getting through tasks, staying on the move, proving I was still fast. Life was a to-do list. Now, in my late 60s, I've learned something simple but stubborn: energy, joy. Even resilience, they expand when you slow down enough to notice the life you're already living. Before I go on, tell me your first name and where you're watching from. I like to imagine us as a quiet chain of porches and balconies across the country: Boise, Idaho, Fort Collins, Colorado, Naples, Florida, same sun, different views, shared intention, my micro-presence anchors, threshold pause. Every doorway becomes a breath, cue. I stop for one inhale, one exhale, shoulders melting down. In seconds, the hurry falls off me like a heavy coat. Sun and sky snapshot. Morning or evening, I step outside for just sensor seconds. I let the air touch my face, feel the temperature on my cheeks. I name one true thing I see. The sky is brushed with silver. The jacaranda is about to bloom. These tiny notes stitch the day into my memory. Save a cue, first sip, first bite, eyes gently closed, a silent thank you. Gratitude in microdoses changes the way the rest of the meal feels. Evening close, lights down, one candle lit, and I list 3 specifics from the day: the neighbor's wave across the lawn, the warmth of fresh bread, the way the sunset filtered through my kitchen window. This simple act sends me into sleep already grounded. Yes, up. These anchors aren't about being mindful in some lofty sense. They're about giving my nervous system a chance to believe me when I say, "We're safe, we can rest." That belief changes everything from digestion to patience. The quiet power of connection. Presence keeps me steady. Connection keeps me strong. I've seen what slow isolation can do. It's not just loneliness. It's a soft erosion of mood, motivation, even physical health. So I put connection on the calendar the same way I would a doctor's appointment. One real phone call a week, no texting shorthand, just voices and pauses and the space to linger. One deliberate kindness to a stranger, compliment, a scarf, hold a door, share a genuine smile. The lift is mutual. One shared plan, coffee with a friend, a walk with a neighbor, a library lecture. Having something to look forward to is medicine for the mind. Family root care, a snapshot sent to grandkids, a quick postcard to a cousin, a Sunday checks-in call. When energy or mood dives, shrink the target. The truth, some days are heavier. Motivation gets slippery. On those days, I don't ask for more, I ask for less. One deep breath before picking up the phone. One slow shoulder roll before sitting back down at my desk. One glass of water before the next snack. They're so small they're almost unskippable. Each one is a little yes I give myself, and those yeses add up faster than guilt over what I didn't do. The stack, when you begin layering these pieces: breathe, movement, nourishing food, emotional honesty, micro-presence, and connection, the whole day feels different. I don't cling to years the way I used to. I fill the ones I have, my aim now. Mornings that start in steadiness and choice, afternoons with enough in the tank to enjoy them. Evenings soft enough to sleep without a fight. No extremes. No magic fixes, just ordinary acts repeated with unreliable regularity until they become part of the structure holding me up. If you choose one thing from all of this, let it be small but certain. A breath, a kindness, a single minute in the sun. Tomorrow, add another. In time, you'll realize you've built a life that doesn't just last. It feels good to live inside it. Because longevity is never just about how long we live, it's about how fully we do.